Sun rays like a satellite. Energies bring me back to life. Catch me chilling with the halo. Universal flow, I belong here. Keep that focus on that starlight. God of my universe, part of my mission, righteous the Almighty. Raw splitting the sea into that clear sight. Go far intuition, lifting up that soul right. High low, high low, high low, high low. Elevate my love, generate my touch. Everything I see coming to me, I'm knowing. Fruits that I bear from the sowing. I just put in work to the morning, to the three bird that we heard. Stepping through the light, that's a rebirth. Giving thanks to life and the ether. I can never fall when I'm free word. Free bird, free word, free bird, free word, free bird. I'm Elo, I'm Elo, I'm Elo, I'm Elo. Sun rays like a satellite. Energies bring me back to life. Catch me chilling with the halo. Universal flow, I belong here. Sun rays like a satellite. Energies bring me back to life. Catch me chilling with the halo. Universal flow, I belong here. High low, high low, high low, high low, high low.
I fucking love
Thanks
you.
to the fire. High low, high low, high low, high low. Sun rays like a satellite. Energies bring me back to life. Catch me chilling with the halo. Universal flow, I belong here. Keep that focus on that starlight. God of my universe, part of my mission, righteous the Almighty. Raw splitting the sea into that clear sight. Go far intuition, lifting up that soul right. High low, high low, high low, high low. Elevate my love, generate my touch. Everything I see coming to me, I'm knowing. Fruits that I bear from the sowing. I just put in work to the morning, to the three bird that we heard. Stepping through the light, that's a rebirth. Giving thanks to life and the ether. I can never fall when I'm free word. Free bird, free word, free bird, free word, free bird. I'm Elo, I'm Elo, I'm Elo, I'm Elo. Sun rays like a satellite. Energies bring me back to life. Catch me chilling with the halo. Universal flow, I belong here. Sun rays like a satellite. Energies bring me back to life. Catch me chilling with the halo. Universal flow, I belong here. High low, high low, high low, high low, high low.
I fucking love
Thanks
you.
to the fire. High low,
Y'all, it is hot here in
high
Georgia.
low,
Brother, by my
high low.
today?
I love something rich like satellite. Energies bring me back to life. Catch me chilling with the elo. Universal flow, I belong. Keep that focus
How
on
y'all
that
doing
star.
today?
God of my universe, part of my mission, righteous the all man. Raw splitting a sea into that good side.
Yeah,
Go
it is
far
hot.
intuition, lifting up
Let me
that
check out
soul.
the comments. I'm making sure I'm
I
up.
love,
Nika's
I love,
brain is running a little late today,
I
but she will be
love,
joining us.
I
But in the
love.
meantime, I welcome you all. I thank you all for joining and coming in and spending some time with me. I do appreciate it. You are truly loved, and I am truly grateful for your presence, your time, your love, your support. You all sharing the live, you all bringing people and drawing people and all that good stuff. And I'm just very grateful for all that good stuff. I really am. I really am. I really am. So I'm not in the shrine today because it's such a nice day in Georgia that I decided to spend some time outside. And also that wonderful music, vibrational high frequency music you're hearing in the background is my godson. It's his music. And he wanted, could I use this music to use as a promo in the background in the opening of my video. So I want to make sure you all can hear me, and I'm actually going to
I fucking love
lower the music in the background so you all could hear me. And I'm going to shift the vibe a little bit. So we have some nice frequencies. Give me just a second, you all. I'm going to plug up my cord. We don't want to have any issues. In the meantime, let me know that you all could hear me fine, that you can see me fine. You know, I saw the last live and I saw that it was glitching, like sticking and stuff on my end. When that happens, I want you guys to let me know so that I could rectify that. Because sometimes if I'm in the basement, the house can get a little janky versus being upstairs. And then so sometimes I have to switch to using my phone hotspot. So just what's going on so that I could, operate accordingly. So let me plug up my cord and we're going to get in the zone. In the meantime, you guys go ahead, like, share, subscribe, comment, send the live out, send it to your friends, the link to your friends in their text, their inbox, their email, get their attention. If you'd like to receive notifications for when the live is going on, I recommend that you follow or you sign up for notification so that I believe you get it. In the meantime, I do try to tag everyone, comments with the @ thing that Facebook allows us to do. So until I master this thing, I thank you for working with me. But I thank you all for coming in tonight. How was your week? Ben, how was your weekend? I know it's hump day. I know it's Wednesday. But, the weekend was not too far away, and the weekend ahead of us is not too far away either. So how was your week going so far? So just chat back to me a little bit. I'm going to plug up my cord really fast. And adjust my chair. I have my water. I have my pipe. I have everything. Yes, I am on Facebook. You should be able to see me on Facebook. Okay? Mama Star, you should be able to see me on Facebook. I know Miss Gardner is seeing me on Facebook, and I have quite a few viewers on Facebook. And I'm gonna see what Instagram is looking like. I'm gonna get my Facebook. People are hearing me. Facebook for Instagram charged up to the max. Charged up to the max. My godsons are on Instagram. Let me know if they can hear me over there. I'm gonna go ahead and light my incense coal here and get my pot started for the incense. But my week has been pretty smooth. Last week was quite intensive for me. As I shared with you guys last week, someone that was really close to me and someone I was really close to, someone that was really protective of me. Even as I just said that the thing popped. Granny was very protective of me. The lady called me every day. Every day, Granny called to make sure I was good. And to talk and to pray and to just all the good stuff that grandmothers do. And this was the fun grandma that, you could drink a beer with and have a cigarette and smoke a little ganja, and she gonna tell you the goodness of Jesus and what he's done for her. And give you a recipe or two in the midst. You understand how to cover, clean, and protect yourself. So may Granny Myrtle, Lauren's soul rest in peace. May she take flight and enjoy her time with the ancestors. She was a pleasure to be amongst, And so, even in talking about our conversation tonight and cultivating relationships, being spiritual and cultivating relationships, it is through my spirituality that this great individual entered my life, And so, we're going to get into a great conversation tonight. I'm excited for my sister to come and join us in tonight. Let me see. And okay. Thank you, Mama Star. You could have stayed on YouTube, YouTube needs some more viewers. I need viewers on YouTube too. And so to help even get the views up, even if you guys go and click, what is it? Go and click go and click on YouTube and watch for a little while. Help me get those views up on YouTube as well. I want to get the algorithm together. And even if you missed last week, you understand, or the weeks prior to our great conversation, definitely, please, get in tune, and check out last week's live and a week before that you guys are up to date. Okay. Thank you again. That background music that you guys were hearing earlier was my godson. That name of that song is Elohim. It's called in regards to the Elohim. So all vibrational, high frequency music. When we get into the Elohim being the divine forefathers, foremothers that helped to shape, mold, and initiate society around the world in the ancient days. So we give reverence to all the divine Elohim. So that's homework for you all to do your research. Find out who and what the Elohim are, not just from the old biblical, indoctrination, but really find out who and what the Elohim are. So the name of that song in the background that you guys heard was called Elohim by Sky Ken. And so shout out to Sky Ken. I'm going to turn my phone down so I don't get any distractions or calls and stuff that disrupts the video. And so again, I thank you all for your time, your presence, for being here with me. And I pray that the spirit of the universe, the spirit of the ancestors guide us into a wonderful conversation, high frequency, high vibration, allows us to tap into a great deal of, knowledge and divine flow. You guys know all that good stuff, right? All that good stuff. And so again, I welcome you. So tonight we're talking about relationships and spirituality. How does being spiritual shape and mold? Oh, hey, look at my sister. Look at that.
Hello.
Look at my sister right as I'm getting ready to start the juke conversation. I love it. You come right on time. The time a whole jumbie. You feel me? So I'm making sure my network and everything is good on my side. I see you clearly. hear you clearly. Everybody let Rain know that you all can hear her clearly, see her clearly.
Hi, everybody. I don't know. Baba Ra has just lost service, or did I lose service? I'm not really sure. We're having a little.
Yes. Okay,
technical-
there we go.
There we
Awesome. We're suited and booted, people. We are suited and booted. So we're ready to go. And so if y'all don't mind my greasy looking, oily looking face, you understand?
go. Mine's
Because it is hot and humid in Georgia. And I'm enjoying all of it. Okay. I'm enjoying all of it. So I have my hair down, it's pulled back, and we are riding the wave tonight. And even it's so funny because I have 3 views on and 2 hearts. That's number 5 when we did with Mama Oshun. And this is on the platform that I can see. I know there's more viewers that I cannot see, but now that you're there, I thank you for your views. Again, like, heart, share, subscribe, pass this good information around. And so tonight, we're talking about being spiritual and cultivating and building relationships. How does being spiritual affect, help to shape, mold, and determine who and what you draw into your space, who you decide to build relationships and cultivate relationships with? This is, I think, a really good topic to uncover. You understand? And so I want Neat to just Rain to come in, and she's now coming in. Just to give you guys a quick welcome, I'm going to put some fire on the pot.
I just want to say a pleasant good afternoon, good night, good evening. That is always get the timing wrong, but a blessing upon everyone who is watching, those who are going to watch at a later time. May the divine guidance of the universe touch you immensely. May you feel abundant and happy. And may this topic and this conversation really prompt some form of thinking. Because for so many of us, we have people in our lives that may not need to be in our lives anymore. And as we elevate spiritually and we understand the power that we hold within, and we become more conservative with our energy, we start to filter through these relationships within our lives. And the question was, does spirituality help shape and mold how you view relationships? And I would like to say emphatically yes. And that's where I'm going to start off with an emphatic yes, that spirituality does play a role in how you discern what relationships are important and what relationships are necessary and what relationships you should build and grow throughout your life. And we're not just thinking romantic relationships, but friendships, spiritual relationships, even the places where you decide to worship at one point in time. These are all interpersonal relationships that we are building, like, where you work. There's the social aspect of spirituality and the development of the relationships therein.
I agree. When being a spiritual person, we all are naturally spiritual, whether you practice a spiritual practice or belong to a particular organization or whatever. Being an individual and conscious and aware and in tune with yourself. When you go through this awakening, unbeknownst to you, you start to go through this awakening period. You start to feel certain things, and you start to have realizations, and you start to question the placement of people in your life and the role that you play in their life. And so it's important in understanding why relationships, number one, we need relationships, and strong ones as spiritual beings, because we cannot walk this journey alone. We all have our individual destinies, individual plans, but we need support and we need solid relationships, because bad ones could tear us down. And so going into conversation, number one, let me lower my mic. I want to make sure I'm positioned right. So number one, as Rain said, we're not just discussing intimate relationships or companionships. We're covering relationships as a whole. I want to start number one with family. We want to start at home and branch out from home. Family dynamics are very important as a spiritual person, as a spiritual being, because you know the environment in which you grow and develop and spend a lot of your time affects how you maneuver and show up in the world. And so when we think about our family dynamics, our parent dynamics, what is my relationship like with my mother, like with my father? How has that shaped my viewpoint? How does that shape how I process love, how I receive love, how I transmit love, how I share love? You understand? And then going from there into maneuvering in the world. Starting there at home, though, when we talk about healthy relationships, a lot of us have to survey the matters of the heart. Do I feel validated? Do I feel seen? Do I feel heard? You understand? Do I feel valued? Do I feel respected? And these are characteristics and character traits that, number one, you started home with your parents or your guardians. I want to say guardians because not everyone necessarily grew up with their parents, but I want to necessarily say your guardians, those that had charge over you or responsible for you. Did these persons show me love? Did they pour love into me? Did they show me emotional support? If you come from an environment where that was in fact chunker, where you were given love, where you were shown love, where you were supported, you'll find yourself in the world showing up as that individual, giving love, transmitting love. And even for persons that may have been in environments that were not so healthy, your intent and the place in which you come from may be seeking love, wanting to receive love. You understand? Brain, what are your thoughts on that? Or any thoughts? You didn't give me the finger. I was waiting for the finger to come up.
Oh, when we speak about family and how it affects our discernment abilities with relationships, as you were speaking, it made me really think about the placement my family has placed in my life. And I know my story is not a typical one. With Caribbean families, especially, you may come from a household where love isn't freely give. And if it's given, it's based on conditions of performance and how best you serve that family. So when you grow up with that type of mentality, and I could only speak for myself, you the way you approach love and relationships may be different. For many of us, and for myself, my family is the group of selected friends that I have let into my life, and they have become family because I reached a stage where I had to disconnect from my family in order to fully heal and thrive. And I find as spiritual beings, I'm not talking about religious beings, but as spiritual beings, we tend to go through this transfiguration where our families is used as the precipice for our, I guess, origin story, and and how we develop spirituality. I grew up Pentecostal, but I don't practice Pentecostal. I went the opposite route from my family and I became a Baptist, and that was like, why would you do that? So as I grew and I understood the role that my family played in how, even as a woman, the kind of characters and men that I chose was either I didn't want them to be anything like my father, or I wanted them to embody certain traits that my father had. So our family, especially that intermediate family, like of mother-father dynamics, plays such a critical role in how we go forward seeking validations from other relationships, not only romantically. Like I said, my friends have become my family because I felt
I
a
agree.
lack in that familiar structure to provide the love and care and nurturing that I wanted to. And as I developed in my spirituality and in my beliefs of God, I knew what that love was supposed to feel like because I felt that love from God each and every day. And
Mm,
I'm looking for
yes.
love that's
Yes.
reflective of that love of God in the human form. So, as you grow as
Ooh, that's
as
giving
you
me
grow
chills. Yes, my darling.
spiritually, you start to understand more so what you need to feel fulfilled, and it may not come from that familiar source. And for those who are lucky enough to have it come from that familiar source, they usually have more secure attachment styles. And the way they may discern relationships may be completely different. So I think understanding the role of your family in your development in whole and that awareness within can give you better understanding of how and why you make certain relationship decisions.
With you, and I concur 100% because similarly to you, I grew up and I come from a very big family. Okay, and a very close knit family are all different, spiritually different, and communicating with the invisible and the things invisible. Also, a lot of the, like you said, a lot of the parameters of what the family structure was set upon, the expectation that was set, whether that was career, whether that was education, whether that was religious practice and ideology. I didn't confines. And so I share the same story of how to create my family, having to create and build and cultivate relationships with that truly loved me authentically for who I am, where I did not always put on a mask, hide myself, readjust myself to be loved or to be received or to just show up. You understand? So I think a lot of times, and I see that amongst a lot of, go ahead,
I
go ahead,
think,
go ahead.
as a spiritual people, when we start to become more awakened, we awaken our soul tribe. Looking for your soul family to me should be the first fundamental step of any relationship hierarchy. I made a post the other day and it said that I love my friends. My friends are my lovers, because when you're calling in that soul family and you're calling in people that you from your past lifetimes, from the trajectory in the past, these are people who truly know you on a soul level. So as you become more spiritually enlightened, that's a prayer that I would hope everyone starts to pray, that God sends them their soul tribe with people who are like-minded, who are from that same soul's identity, to be understood. So when you have that tribe of people that
Yes,
understand you, sometimes they have the perceptions to see what we may not see in other people around us. Because sometimes your soul child will tell you that
yes,
friend that you have, that friend over there, they're not trustworthy. Or that romantic partner that you have, that's
yes,
not somebody that you should be building with. So if you're not lucky enough to come from a stable family where you feel like people truly understand you and have a knowledge of who you are, you can always call in for God to send you your soul tribe and your soul family, and develop these relationships that are eons old. These people who know you on a
I should.
intrinsic fundamental level.
1 second, Rain. Don't say anything yet. Don't say anything. 1 second. Okay, I agree with you. And so and that is a part of the awakening period, because when you even look at history, history, you know, ancient history, and even think about philosophers and writers and even elders and priests, a lot of them had to take these sojourns away from home, discover and to cultivate themselves and to grow. You understand? And oftentimes did not return home until later years in life at all. You understand? And so I think by design, and then maybe some people may not agree with what I'm going to say, design, I feel like those of us that are called to higher purposes or higher callings or purposes and to be lights in the world oftentimes come from home based dynamics that are not always the ideal, um, whether it be ideal emotionally, financially, or ideal spiritually, and sometimes even a collective of all of the above. But I think it kind of gives fuel to the fire to push us to step out. One, to discover self, and then number two, to see what the world truly has in God's beauty and divineness. But three, to find our soul tribe. And shifting to talking about soul tribe now. What do you consider soul tribe, Rain?
To me, I believe we're all part of one grand consciousness. So when you find your soul tribe, you find a group of people who share that soul identity with you, who vibrate on the same frequency, same understanding, same level as you, that are like-minded than you, that come from that one collective. Like, we're all part of different niches. This soul tribe are people that you may have met in a past life. Your soul tribe might be somebody that was your mother in a past life, come back as your best friend. Your soul tribe are the people who were traveling this journey called the eternal life, not just this one lifetime,
Yes.
the eternal life with you in varying forms and shapes. Like, it's your family, but it's not your family limited to this lifetime. It's the family that you initially started this whole journey with, from the primordial womb, I guess.
Origin of essence from your, as I say, from our home planets, wherever that may be.
Yeah, now I'm a
understand from our
Pleiadian.
home
So,
planets.
if you're from my planet, hello, shout out.
Hello. So, and even it's funny because I was watching the Avatar yesterday. I said, I really do. I saw those water people in that new Avatar, and I said, those be my people all day long.
So I was watching the show, and I feel like they need to give me a promotional check for this show called Black Clover. It had these people that were, living underneath the water, and I was like, I felt like I was from there. I was traversing there. I was like, I'm not from the land.
Exactly.
I got to be under the water.
Exactly. And so when I think about soul tribe, because I realize I went through, and I wonder if you've experienced this. I've been conscious for a great deal as far as like maneuvering as a young adult, going into my adult years. Once I started to drive, you couldn't tell me nothing. So all of my friends lived in the city. So I was always in the city. I was always out of, no different than what I'm doing now. I just phobia. And so at the time, I was very active in the church, very active in ministry, reading for people on the side, still going to church, but still doing readings and stuff and doing my little spiritual work on the side, but just not doing big stuff. But neither here nor there. I realized that in different seasons of my life, I had developed different soul tribes, or spirit was at a certain place. My friend circles mirrored that, and it was everything that I needed in those times of my life. That makes sense.
Yes. So
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like God always places people in your life at the time that fulfills the need that you have. Your cup is never going to be empty if you're a spiritual person and your soul knows what you're longing for. I have always been more reserved in having a soul tribe. Like, if you're my soul tribe, you're going to be in my soul tribe for the rest of our lifetime. I'm very committed in that. And I feel like when you become aware of what you want, that's when the soul tribe starts pouring and coming to meet you. You ever meet somebody and you're like, it feels like I've known you my whole life, and I've just met you. That's because your soul did know this person your whole life. This is not just limited to this lifetime. You might meet somebody today, you always see it. somebody might have been in a relationship for 10 plus years, never married that person, met somebody 6 months later and got married because their soul
Yes.
recognized that
Yes.
person.
Yes.
I feel that we
Yes.
all have
Yes.
fragmented memories of who we were before. And even if on a conscious level you may not remember, your subconscious remembers. So when you meet people and they just
Yes.
fill in that gap, or there's an ease within the way that the situation develops, it's my belief that that's how you know that person was a part of your soul tribe.
I agree with you. And even as you said that, I had a revelation. It's like Spirit had to talk back to me. It's like, no, those people were there. And I think some of them individuals were a part of the soul tribe, because I mean they're still present, as you said. And there's other people that were a part of the season that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? I definitely want to say there are seasonal people and then there's soul tribe people, and there is a difference. There is a difference.
I feel that as a
Tribe people
spiritual
and seasonal
person,
people.
I feel as a spiritual person, every person that comes into your life is for a reason and a purpose. And there's usually some form of lesson, if you look at it correctly, that's attached to the person. Especially people who come in at particular seasons in your life and only last for a particular season. Because you have to look back at what was this person trying to teach me? What was this relationship trying to teach me? Because a lot of times as spiritual people, relationships are one of the biggest growers and development, like character development happens through the relationships that you find yourself a part of.
Truth. Full truth. Olu said, facts. I love it. This is true. And so this is when we talk about law of attraction too, as we discussed last week. Law of attraction. Even this applies to friendships dynamics. The law of attraction will bring those that are in us, bring those to you according to the space that you are in. And you have to learn or receive in that line.
I think when you start subconsciously radiating signals, because we're always radiating signals, and some of these signals might be our wants and our needs, we start to signal to the universe to send people who could accommodate those wants and those needs, and those relationships that we build when we dive into our spirituality are usually meant to grow us. And I really want to stress that, like, if you're in a relationship, whether it be a friendship, a romantic relationship, a familiar relationship, and it's not growing you, it's not purposeful. Every relationship that you have, especially as a spiritual person who is supposed to constantly be in a state of elevation and growth, these relationships are meant to grow us. Whether you're looking for that Proverbs wife, whether you're looking for your Boaz, whatever the case may be, we have these requirements that spirit tends to fill. But you have to also understand, whether you radiate positive signals, you also radiate negative signals. So there's also going to be those people that come into your life that are meant to destroy you, that are meant to break you down, that are meant to take you from you.
Sidebar, and it can even be your own blood.
Going back to the original topic when we spoke about succubuses and incubuses, that's because at times we're not using our power of discernment to see the type of relationship patterns that are happening within our lives. Sometimes you may find that you date the same person just in a different body. You're like, why does it seem like all my relationships can't work out? Because that's sometimes that spirit telling you you're missing the lesson.
Yep.
And that's so true. One of our biggest issues is being able to discern between our wants and our needs. Yes, Don. And that's the thing. If you don't know what you need versus what is just a mere desire, the universe is going to send you these things. That's why you have to be your own personal filter into what relationships best serve you, best accommodate you, best grows you.
I should. Now, talk identify relationships that best serve us. Okay? I know some people might can go all over the place, and I want to speak on that for a minute. Identifying what best serves you, especially in relationships and being aware and growing in yourself. No matter where you are in your journey, it's important to think from your highest state of consciousness. So you have to identify your strengths, your weaknesses. You have to be real with yourself with where you are currently in your life holistically. That means mentally, spiritually, physically, and financially. And when I say financially, this means, being real about what you can and cannot, where you need to strive to go as far as reaching your goals, having balance, having discipline, all these things too. And so when we get into this, being able to identify and even looking at the people that our space come into our life, the relationships that the universe is allowing to develop, whether it be for a lesson to come or take us to the next level, everything is going to build you, whether it be in the process or you taking the lesson and moving on. But we have to be real with ourselves about where we are when it comes down to meeting people or communicating with people, whether it be blood, our family, friends, or new people that are entering our life. You have to be mindful of the conversations you are having. You have to be mindful of the energy that you are projecting. You have to be mindful of the intent. Okay? And so when we talk about intent, it's not just beneficial. It's not to be benefiting you on a one-sided spectrum, but it has to be a two-way reciprocal dynamic. Go ahead, Rain.
A lot of people look at me very strange when I say this, but I always say every relationship in my life has to serve me. And that's not a selfish way of thinking. It sets that initial filter to filter out what is purposeful and what is not. When you start to think about how do we identify what relationships are purposeful, as I said before, have you grown from this relationship? What have you learned from this person? How has this person helped you to become a better version of yourself? How have you poured into that relationship? Because a lot of times our relationships are not beneficial because we're not doing the work either. We're not putting anything into the other person, so there's no reciprocal energy being fostered between the two. A lot of times we expect a lot out of people, but we don't want to live up to the same expectations that we have of others. I recently had someone give me an assignment. They told me, write down everything you want in a partner and then write down what you do to match what you're asking for. And it was the first time I ever really had to really think about, what am I asking for and what am I giving in return for what I'm asking for? And a lot of times when we look at relationships, we don't want to look at it as a true meaning of a partnership, whether it be a friendship, whether it be family relationship, whether it be romantical. We're supposed to be building towards a common goal. And that goal could be to be better people, to enjoy life, to have fun. With my friends, I want to not only enjoy life, but I want to be able to say, well, I learned from them or I grew through them. So when I look at my friendships, I look like, what areas of my life am I lacking in? And how can you best fulfill that? And what areas of your life are you lacking in? And how can I best serve you? Because in equality,
I agree.
We always talk about evenly yoked. We don't even like to look at our friendships under that same spectacle and that same light. Because I don't want a friendship where I'm putting more in than I'm getting out, or I'm carrying the weight of the friendship. Like I'm the only one calling you, or I'm the only one suggesting things that we should do, or I'm the only one deciding that I need to see you. And I don't think people have conversations about what is the expectations of these relationships and the degree in which these relationships occur in our life. Because not everybody is going to fill the same space or the same inner circle. For me, I have circles. You have my inner circle of friends, and you have my outer circle of friends, and then we have the outer circle. So the love and affection and care and duty that I might give to my inner circle, I may not have that same tenacity to give it to my outer circle based on the relationships that we have and how much I'm sewing into this. A lot of times we have to be
I agree.
open to say I can only emotionally give this to this particular relationship. That's where that
Yes.
awareness of self
Yes.
comes in, because you have to know what you have available to give and what you want in return. Like if I already have a best friend, right? And this is my way of thinking. And my best friend meets all my best friend requirements. And I'm living a happy best friend life. I'm not maybe seeking another best friend, but I may be seeking a close and personal friend that has a different shape of relationship with. So you have to know what you're looking for and what you're seeking in order to attract what you want.
I agree.
Yes.
And I stand on that 10 toes. I've always had different circle of friends. I have my
Yeah,
business friends. I have my friends that I turn up with. I have my friends that are my close, all-inclusive friends. And then I think it's important for all of us as beings to take time to analyze our circle of people around us and check in. Are these balanced relationships? Balance meaning the turn up friends mean when it's time to turn up, I show up. When it's time for my close friends, when it's time to be present, that means supporting them. For those, some people think it's financial. No, it's emotionally, mentally, it is spiritual. That means I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to check in. I'm going to come over and cook and make sure you're eating properly when you ain't in the best state of health or best state of mind holistically. It is all of that when it comes down to solid relationships, and you have to know the role that you play in people's lives. So when we talk about like Olu Tawoni said, some people don't have the capacity to give more because they don't know themselves enough to expand and gain more capacity.
That
Now
is so
let me
true.
talk about that for a minute. That is a true statement, and a part of knowing self goes back to the statement when I said being real with yourself, knowing where you are, and really initiating that healing trauma, because some people are grown adults or maneuvering through the world, developing relationships and friends, and not healed from mama issues, daddy issues, sibling issues, certain person relationship issues that they had with past friends or companions and lovers. And so you maneuver now subconsciously, not verbalizing, not communicating, but yet expecting for someone to show up or to give you a certain thing because you are giving of yourself a certain kind of a way. And that's not fair to the person or to yourself. And so you have to check in. Go ahead, Rain.
I want to say, you see that word expectations? It's going to be the biggest downfall of so many of us, because many of us have expectations and don't communicate these expectations that we have. In all my friendships, in all my relationships, I'm very forthright in what I expect. I let you know, I want to talk to you every day. Is that going to be a problem? I'm very communicative. I want to get a text. I want to get a check-in. But a lot of people don't talk about what their expectations are. So now you have people who are misaligned because one person may not be able to give you this, but because you've never spoken to them about it and you just have it, then you end up with a lot of people that are hurt or feel like, oh, this person wasn't good to me because blah, blah, blah. But no, you never expressed or communicated your expectations. That's why it's good. I say I'm big. I'm a lot from the very beginning, because I don't want you to be deceived into thinking that I'm somebody else. Most people need to put their true self on the front line in order to attract the types of relationships they want in their life. If you're putting on a mask, how are you supposed to attract the right type of people? How are you supposed to call in that soul tribe if you're not then being the most authentic version of yourself? You need to have these types of
I agree.
conversations, whether
I
it
agree.
be
I
in a
agree.
whether it be in a friendship, whether it be in a romantic relationship, whether it be in a family relationship. A lot of families don't have conversations about expectations, or it's a one-sided conversation. Like,
Yes.
mother, I expect this from you. I expect you to go to school, get these grades, do this, that. This is my expectations. But we were never given the chance as children, or even cousins, sisters, whatever, to voice our expectations of our families. We were just given these
Mm-hmm.
roles that we are supposed to play in. So I feel like if we start having more open conversations about what we expect from one another, we would have more aligned relationships. But I realize when you go along the spiritual journey and you have those awareness, these types of conversations do tend to happen.
Yes. 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 I agree. 100%. I agree with you. And I realize, is sometimes a struggle in our community as Black people, worldwide Caribbean, non-Caribbean, African, American. It is a struggle sometimes, and a lot of times we show up and we just and we respond with body language, or we respond through anger, and we can cuss up, we can cry, we can shut down, we can retreat, and at the end of the day still not convey what our reasoning is, what triggered it, what our problem is, what our expectation is, and what the need is. And we have to start to break that generational curse. Some of us come from environments where we didn't see our parents communicate well, or our grandparents communicate well, and or still not doing so. Or we see them go into situations where they shut down. So we've developed that habit of shutting down, or emoting through anger, or body language and ill posture. But we have to shift that and open up. Open up. This is a all generational thing. Open up and take time to express ourselves, know what we need, identify what it is that is the bother, that is the problem, and also be receptive to listening to understand, listening to empathize, listening to relate, listening to get to a point of reaching a solution. Okay. Prince says here, conversation. I'm going to post it. He says conversation is next to vulnerability, and people are scared to be vulnerable lately. I don't even want to say lately, Prince. I want to say for a long time, people have been scared to be vulnerable. Hence, While Out Wednesday. Go ahead, Rain.
To answer Prince, I think that communication is vulnerability, and a lot of us have not been taught how to properly communicate. We don't know how there's different forms and styles of communication. So just because I may not communicate the way you do, we never have these types of conversations. I think vulnerability is I think vulnerability has come a long way compared to the generations that were before us. We're still not fully comfortable with vulnerability, but we're taking steps in the right directions to become more open, to have more conversations like this. At least I feel like in the circle that I have been aligning myself with, we have these types of conversations with one another. And I think that when
Hmm.
you grow on your spiritual journey and you attract that soul tribe, and we all act like little microcosms, like little micro universes. Like if me and Prince are having a conversation about this, and then Prince goes and talks to another person about, hey, how do you feel about this? I may have not been aware that, I may have had unexpected expectations of you. We're making little microcosm changes. I don't ever feel like vulnerability is going to be, especially for a specific diaspora and a specific age group, is ever going to be something that they find easy. That saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. But
Right.
we're practicing gentle parenting. We're practicing gentle friendships. We're in our soft era. There's so many open conversations being had nowadays. Everybody has a podcast. Everybody is speaking their opinions. So we're having more of these conversations. I think we just have to learn to better communicate. Like Ross said, listen to actually hear what the person's saying instead of just to respond. Learning each other's communication style. Like, I know for me, when I get really, really angry, I need a second. I may need to walk away. That doesn't mean I'm done with the conversation. It just means in this conversation, I need to take a second. So, learning the people around you and how they communicate and how they express themselves. Maybe they may need to write a text message. Some of us communicate better via text, or write a letter, or write a note. It's these conversations need to happen, and they are happening, or at least I'm hopeful that they're happening based on my limited skew of the world. But I think we have to learn to be open and to more different communication styles.
I agree with you. And I've been noticing, like, for example, to add to the being open to other communication styles, I've learned different card games, different like decks that help to break the ice, to in a respectful manner ease into sensitive conversations, be it with friends, be it with partners, be it with whatever. And I'll share some of those so that you guys could, you know, utilize them, because a lot of therapists and psychologists use these tools to help in their work now. And I think it helps even for us as everyday people in our journey, even for yourself to use, to pull a card and reflect on that question and think about it and say, whoa, okay, I didn't think about this or didn't think about that. And so I think reflection, being open to communication is important. And to build on what Rain said, yes, people are currently in a state where vulnerability is shifting. Yes, people are still sensitive, so you have to be mindful. But reaching to a space of having the conversations or practicing the conversations with your smaller groups of friends, those closest to you, so that you can be confident enough and stable enough to have conversations with bigger people, whether it be your family members, your teachers, your elders, those that have made certain impacts, be it positive or negative in your life. You understand? And so I think it is important. So even going into the question that Donna asked, she said, question for us. So when you communicate your expectations, but you are still getting the same result, what do you suggest? Let me say this. I'm going to answer first, and then I'm going to let Rain. Go ahead, Rain. Actually, go ahead. Go ahead.
If you're communicating your needs and your expectations and you're still getting the same results, either that person does not care about your needs and expectations, or they may not understand how to meet your expectations. Because sometimes I may say, I need this, but this person doesn't know how to give that to me because they've never had to do it before. Like I said, I have friends who are not accustomed to talking to their friends every day. I'm just going to use that example. But because I'm a person that's like, okay, I need to communicate every day, they've had to learn, like, oh, when I see Shanique calling, I need to pick up the phone, because this is what requires for her to feel secure in our friendship or secure in our relationship. So sometimes you need to have a little bit of patience, especially when there's people that are learning new skills. But if you see that they're completely not even showing any effort whatsoever, then you cut them off. And that's just me. I cut people off very easily. If I'm communicating and I'm trying to teach you how to fulfill my expectations, and I'm doing everything on my part that I'm supposed to do to make this relationship dynamic work, then I know you're not trying to meet me where I'm at. And that means we're no longer aligned, so that I need to cut you off so I don't feel resentment or feel negative feelings towards you. Because maybe you're just simply not capable of meeting my expectation, and that's okay.
I agree. And so even when we talk about realizing that someone may not be healthy for you, as Nick said, they don't care. They're not sensible enough. That's number one. They don't care about how you feel. They don't care about how you feel, and they have no desire or willingness to change nor adjust. So with that, you have to move around accordingly to protect yourself. Adjust how much you are giving, adjust your communication, and be okay with stepping away. And even as we lead into that, something that I wanted to bring up too is sometimes we have a fear of separation.
Mm-hmm.
and closing the door to certain friendships because either we feel like they need us or we feel that we need them. You understand? Or we're afraid to have the conversation because we are afraid of how they're going to respond or what they're going to do or what they're going to react or what they're going to pull out of their bag of tricks. You can't maneuver with that fear. When you realize that a relationship is not working and all, you've done all that you can do. Because understanding that even in this conversation, there's a lot of people that are learning newer methods and techniques to approach certain situations. So when you evaluate and check in with yourself and realize, have I done everything? Have I truly conveyed? That doesn't mean give subliminal messages. Meaning I'm going to block, I'm not going to answer, I'm not going to respond, I'm not going to engage, I'm not going to interact. Saying and expect them to get it. I'm not going to shift my body language or become short and expect them to get it. I'm not going to, continue to show up with a funky character and expect them to question and figure out why I'm feeling how I'm feeling. No. Am I truly conveying and saying and expressing what I need to so that it can be made clear to them where we stand and where we need to go or where I would like to go? And if after that you're not getting the result that is desirable, then you need to step away. Even as those of us are evolving in our spiritual journey, there are friends and family members that we may have close ties to, or spiritual family members, or that we may have close ties to, that indeed we have to separate from and be okay with separating from. You okay? For the betterment of ourselves, for the protecting of our heart, for the protecting of our emotions, for the protecting of our well-being, and for our growth. And even sometimes the growth too. And if it is God's will, if it is the will of the ancestors for us to be in each other's lives in time to come, it will manifest. And I have to trust that. Let me see here. I'm putting in the comments the link for the cards that I'm suggesting that I know them to be very beneficial. Because we've used them in my family, we've used them in my friend circles and everything. And so I pray that it is beneficial to all of you guys. So it should show up in the comments. Oh, it only went to, so I'll post in the comments in the other area on Facebook itself. But as I was saying, don't be afraid to separate. Go ahead, Rain.
A lot of us may suffer from like abandonment issues, secure attachment issues. There's all these psychological terms for why we have issues with letting go of people within our lives. But I am a true believer that when you open up that space and as you grow spiritually, as you said, sometimes you'll realize that people start falling out of your life naturally because you're growing and they are no longer in alignment to where you're supposed to be or where you're going to end up. And that's when God will come and remove these people from your life. Whether it's easy or not easy, it happens because you need to open up that space for God to send the people within your life that are now in alignment to where you want to go. I think that's one of the main things is to practice having an open heart. Open that heart to let God know I'm ready to receive the type of people that I'm calling in. I really think that so many times trauma keeps us attached to people. The fear of losing a person, even we know this person is not good for us, it's a fear. And God says we shouldn't operate in fear. And I'm a big believer in, conquering my fears. Even if something makes me uncomfortable, I'm going to talk to myself and be like, I'm going to do this. And a lot of times is having the courage to say, I deserve better. And I want my expectations to be met because I'm willing to meet other people's expectations.
Yes.
And we have to start having that bold confidence within ourselves that we deserve the things that we are asking for. Because if you are saying, God, I want people in my life that are going to pour into me, that are going to uplift me, that are going to see to my well-being, you can't be still settling for people that are not doing that. And then you see that's where the fight between your lower self and your higher self continues to happen. And as you're a spiritual being and you get more in tune with that higher self, that voice, spirit will start, as we just say in the faith, drama in you about that person. Or you'll start seeing that you and that person start having more and more arguments, Or you'll just wake up one day and be like, I really don't like you. You might get on your Kendrick Lamar, and start being like, I just hate everything about you. And
I done. I ain't people no more.
To that state. It's about prioritizing. It's nothing wrong with prioritizing yourself. There's nothing wrong with saying, these are my needs and I need them to be met. And if you don't want to meet them, I am pretty sure that God will send someone else to meet them. And you see, I really believe in the power of prayer. I believe in the power of prayer. And when you pray for God to align you with people that are in your best interest, He will come and He will remove those who are not. And you just have to be open. So I just say, always proceed with an open heart.
And pure intentions.
And
make your declaration known. Yep. And operate with pure intention. Known. Prayer is important. Everything that we do, it doesn't matter what road you walk spiritually. Even if you have no ties to a particular practice, but you just say you are a spiritual being that loves God and the universe, there's nothing we can do, receive, remove, manifest without prayer. You understand? And pure, direct, clear intentions. And when your intentions are not clear, your mind is not made up, you'll find yourself maneuvering through life, learning lessons continuously until you ground yourself and say, okay, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. Being clear about that. And it's really important to reach to that space and not operating in fear. Fear is not your friend, as I always say. Fear is not your friend. It's not your friend. And relationship building is scary. Having a relationship with a companion, having a solid relationships with friends, it can be scary because it's work. You have work and work as a collective. It's a multiple. Go ahead, Rain.
I think in order to have any relationship, you need to have a relationship with yourself. You need to be so deeply in love with yourself and so aware of yourself and so in tune with yourself that you know when something is off. You know when something doesn't align. You know when something is just not good for you. If you don't have that relationship with yourself, you'll always be failing in any type of relationship that you ever had with anybody because you don't know yourself.
Absolutely. Prince asked a question here. He said, have you ever dated or connected with someone that made you question your spiritual inclinations?
In what way,
Let me
Prince?
tell you. Yes. Right? Donna said, yep. And Lou said, Ashe. Okay, and yes, specify. In what way, Prince? Specify in what way. Are you saying in general? Are you saying what you felt about them? Or question where it was going? Or, what way did the questioning, or what aspect of question? Let's get into it.
I'm gonna answer in general until he gets specific. Everyone that I have met within my life, whether it be dated or had a friendship connection with, has always been based on my spiritual inclination. One of my closest friends, the first time I saw him, I was like, I need to get to know this man. And I didn't know why I needed to get to know him, but my higher self was like, you need to get to know him. You need to, so my spiritual inclinations are always going when I meet new people. It's just something, it's like something just calls out to me from the beyond and is like, what is it about you that I need to know? Why am I drawn to you? Why am I desiring to get to know you better? And then there's people who maybe be like, Shanique, you might be a little off. Like you thought you were making a right decision, but then I always realize when I make these decisions that make me question if I was truly aligned with my spiritual inclination, is usually because I was thinking with my carnal mind. I was just pursuing something based on my carnal desires. But anytime I've been truly in tune with my higher self, those have been some of the most deepest, most best connections that I've ever made, is when I trust my spiritual inclinations.
Yeah, I agree. Now I'm gonna speak in general too, and then we'll address the specific that he just put into the comments. But in general, I've been in situations where yes, I've been drawn to a person that's like externally or generally I may not necessarily gravitate to them, but something spiritually pulls me to them. So I may spark a conversation, or I may just feel this really strong connection, and I have to explore that. Okay. Now, I've had situations where in dealing with a person, I have picked up certain things about them spiritually, and so I would question it and then question them if we reach that point of conversation. And then I had the last situation where I've tried to separate from someone, more than one, and for whatever reason, Spirit would always bring us back together. And why do I say that? Is because months could pass, I think about them, and next my phone would text. You understand? Or I could just be a random, and they can come across my mind. I can see them or hear their name, and I will reach out to them, and they're like, "Oh my God, I was just thinking about you," or "I was getting ready to call you," or I literally just said your name and was picking up the phone. And mind you, this particular same person is someone that I've tried to separate many a times, but I realized there was something deeper that the Spirit has under the surface that has us in each other's life, and I had to respect that and just go with it. Go ahead, Rain.
I was gonna be like, that sounds like them soul ties. To answer
That is a soul tie.
to answer Prince's questions, I feel like when I was at my least grounded and when I was the most shakiest in myself, I did have a connection that came into my life that made me realize that I wasn't as connected to myself. Because the things that I was allowing, the things that I was in a whole 7-year marriage, which made me realize I was not as connected to myself. Because I was so connected to the illusion of what was. And I wasn't grounded and secure within myself. So I would say, yes, there has been relationships that has came into my life. But usually when I'm at my lowest or at the most detached from self, that has made me question as whether I'm connected to myself. But those type of relationships has definitely been some of the major growth prompters within my life, because that's when I was like, wait, you're not grounded, Shanique. You're not present. You're not aware of yourself. This is when we do some soul searching. This is when we do that shadow work. This is when we face those triggers and those traumas that allow that person to get past your filter. I usually still go back to me being in tune with myself.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Okay. I agree. And so even when you talk about, and I'll address your specific, you said that make you think that you're not as connected as you know yourself to be. I've been in situations definitely where I felt like my carnal and my spiritual intelligence was insulted, or someone tried to play me in a sense of, so that made me question, like, what the hell is this saying, or what is going on? But at least for me, in that moment, in the questioning, at least for me, I get a reality check real fast. It may take a little 30 minutes to an hour, but once I get my reality check, I bounce back. You understand and know how to move. But if you ever find yourself in a situation where you feel a person is making you and that is a lingering doubt, don't stay in that at all. Okay? He said, okay, so I'm not bugging. I'm glad for you all's perspective on that. Of it. Donna says here, let me see. She says, Prince Andrew, as I'm responding to this, you just said grounding. What I was going to say, we've got to ground ourselves. Being grounded is very important. And when you are finding yourself in a weak space, like Rain started with, when you find yourself in a space of being weak and vulnerable, you may find yourself in a situation connecting with a person or energies that you shouldn't. And so grounding yourself and clearing yourself and setting yourself back straight is important. And when you feel like you're not yourself, you feel like you are not yourself, when you know your energy is off, you know your communication is, you know the vibration is off. Don't intertwine yourself with energy as much as you can stay
That's
grounded
right.
in your own self until you recalibrate. Go around up. Don't go around sharing bodily fluids. Don't go around exchanging energy until you get yourself back together, because it will only make the situation worse. There are predators out here that will prey off your lower vibration, and that goes back to our previous conversation. Go ahead, Rain.
I wanted to say that, I 100% agree with you. You should not be inviting new energies in your life, especially romantically, when you know you're not your best. Because that person, they may see the hidden light within you and want to draw on that, and you already don't have anything to give. We have to be aware of the level that our cup is at
Nope.
when we're spiritual people. Because even when we're at stages and positions where we cannot see our light, where we feel like there's nothing glooming or shining around us, we're still vibrating higher than most people around us. And the lower ones can see that. They can feel that. They may not be spiritually inclined, but people know when you're a genuine person, even if you're at your lowest. So at those times, those are the times when Spirit puts you in isolation for a reason. A lot of us don't like to be alone, but being alone is some of the strongest things that you can do to truly gain yourself back into alignment with what the higher purpose and the higher consciousness want from you.
Gotta say it, you always see me shifting because it's now starting to rain. But to piggyback on what Rain said, when you are in your weakness, you got to be mindful to the predators out there. You got to be mindful to the predators out there, because they will try to bring you down. One second.
We're having a little technical difficulty.
Yeah. So they will bring you down if you're not mindful. And even as we were talking, being a healer, when you are a healer, there are people that will come to you. Like I said, always use the analogy of being a moth to a.
I'm going to continue till he gets back. I wanted to read your comment, Olowatunyin. I'm pronouncing your name wrong and I apologize. But sometimes people are drawn to you because you're a healer and they need healing. You really have to know who you are spiritually to recognize whether a person is a client, lover, or a friend. And I want to say I truly agree with that statement, because as a healer, people see that natural light that you have inside of you. They see and they feel your energy around them in order to draw from you. And that's why you realize as a healer, a lot of times you attract energy vampires, people who just wish to take from you. But you have to use your power of discernment, as she said, to figure out what role you're supposed to play in our lives, especially as spiritual women. There's so many broken and damaged men out there that are seeking to gain from us, to take from us. And I know that exists for men as well, but us as women, we have to be very mindful that our feminine nurturing energy, how it could be used, how it could be taken away from us. So I just want to say to be truly in your spirit of discernment, to truly take time and cherish being alone. I know in today's society, you see so many relationships and you're bombarded by it on the social media, on the TV, but being alone really gives you a sense of focus. It really gives you a sense of purpose. It really helps you truly figure out what you want and what is best for you at the time. I hope Baba Eshu comes back soon so we could continue our discourse. I don't know if I'm continuing to be live, if he's live. I think we're getting through it, people. You know, eventually we're going to figure this all out and it's going to run smoothly and everything is going to be great. Yes.
So yes, I had to shift inside because it started to rain outside. It was a slow rain. I thought it was... You guys for your patience. I was hearing everything. So when we talk about safeguarding yourself, there has to be a balance, and you have to be able to discern, especially when having friendships and when having partnerships, that as a healer, there has to be boundaries. When I'm hanging out with my friends and we're having a good time, there's a time and place for everyone. And even when it comes down to your mate or your companion, you have to know, when do I operate in a space of a healer and give that time? You're always going to be a healer. That will never change, because that is part of why you're probably in that union. But you also want your mate to be someone that is evolving as well. You don't want to always be in a state of need, some form of healing. It has to be reach your space where it's reciprocal. You understand, in a battle yourself in a state where it's not. Have a conversation as to how do we calibrate and understand, or you have to reevaluate. Is this someone that's supposed to be a client, or is it supposed to be a relationship? Is it someone that's supposed to be a friend or a client? You have to be able to discern these things, because sometimes we don't create boundaries and lines which become blurred, where someone started off with the client and then you made them your friend, and then you say, okay, this is unbalanced and I'm giving too much of myself. And so you have to be mindful. And this is why we started off in the beginning of the conversation. Draw your circle, create a chart of your friend circle, and identify how you show up in their life. How do they show up in your life? What role do you play and what role do they play? And is it a balanced relationship? When you start to see that, you'll know how to move. Mama Star said, I love being alone. Some people have to be alone. Some people's energy is very strong, and sometimes go through a period of a hermit phase. And then some people have to be an old witch or wizard in a little shack house in the woods, in the middle of nowhere.
That's me.
You understand?
I think,
Yeah.
the more the more comfortable that you get with being alone, the easier it becomes. And that's also a very slippery slope, because sometimes we get too accustomed being alone, forgetting that we're supposed to go out there and touch people and heal people and radiate that energy. So it's just about knowing how to go with the ebbs and flow, knowing when you need to be on reserve and knowing when you need to give a little, But finding that solitude in being alone is a strength and a power. That means that no one could ever threaten you with their presence or their absence of their presence. Because to me, you'd be like, oh, I'm going to come out your life. That's fine. I'm always by myself. I know how to entertain myself. I'm okay. So you have to...
That is fun,
You have to learn to have that power and that control where you're not always needing someone else.
Fun fact, when it comes to Orisha, Obatala, who is known to be the of light, and the elder Orisha that brings forth wisdom and teaches patience and humility and building good character. Fun about him, he's known to dwell in the high place in the depths of caves, in the darkness, because his energy is so sensitive. He doesn't like a lot of noise. He doesn't like a lot of, strong interaction. A lot of times in your wisdom and you're growing in a state of spiritual maturity, you get to the point where you don't need a lot of people around you. You have your 1 or 2 hitters, your little 3s and 4s, and even when it comes to your close circles, you guys are probably not talking every day, all day. Well, at least for my business, we talk every day, but even that, we don't talk all day. It's like spurts of time throughout the day. So we don't even video chat every day. We have our moments. You know what I mean? And so you have your ones and twos. Even in that, having a lot of people around you, it kind of becomes a weight and a distraction from being able to hear yourself think. You connect with your guides when you have all this extra noise. Sometimes being alone, and having the support of friends, having the support of family looks different for everybody. So identify what does that support look like? What does the presence look like? This presence does not always mean physically present, but what does the presence of your friends, what does the presence of your loved ones look like for you? What does that support looks like for you? And if hey, I like to see you once every month, every 2 months, or I may take a month off and we won't be talking because my friends just give disclaimers, that you come to respect them and love that and appreciate at the same time, but also healthy boundaries. And that's what we have to reach to. And this is a part of being spiritual and cultivating, also known as building relationships. These are the things, and I pray that tonight it was very beneficial. Love the feedback tonight and the interaction and the questions that were asked tonight. It was really great. I really, really, really enjoyed it, and I definitely see that you guys gained a lot. I know I gained a lot even in think about some things and just hearing other perspectives, and even you guys' questions were just. And if you guys have questions, feel free to comment in the box. If you have suggestions of other topics that you would like to hear, things you would like to hear us cover, relationship and spirituality, feel free to share. Give your suggestions, inbox myself, comment it, and we will look over it and let the wisdom flow from the source and from our experiences and from the collective energy that you guys are sending our way. So I'm grateful for it. I love you all for it. It's been a wonderful night. It's going to be next week or the week following, but I do want you guys to know that I'm going to do an episode with relationship and astrology, and we're going to have a to join us, and it's going to be pretty awesome. So I'm excited about that. And so we just want to keep this rolling. We want to keep this rolling, and the whole purpose is about building up yourself, building up you as the individual, you as a spiritual being, because everything else in your life reflects that. You understand? It's going to reflect where you are. Okay, and so it's going down. It's going down. Also, if you guys would like to join my Bible study group where we get really interpersonal with, various spiritual topics. Right now, we're focusing on astrology and our birth charts so that we can get better in tune with ourselves. Let me know your interest and arrange that and get you us. Also, if you are in need of a reading, one session and receive a reading, you can book a reading with me. Call, inbox, your inbox on Instagram, YouTube, and we can arrange that. The consultation for the readings $. So so you guys know, so you can prepare yourself. If you need spiritual work, love work, attraction, protection work, deliverance work, it's all that beautiful good stuff. And we can talk about that. If you would like to learn further on how to cultivate your spiritual practice, whether that is hoodoo, conjure, metaphysics, learn a little bit about the orishas, learn a little bit of voodoo, reach out and I will plug you in with the right sources and we will get it done. You hear me and Rain talk about so vibrantly. Reach out and we can plug you in to the proper places and give you resources that we are allowed to give and educate you the best way we are permitted to. And so I'm excited about the journey and the growth of the podcast, the feedback given, and I'm more so about the growth that you're in your personal is important. Seeing results and seeing change and evolution in your lives is the most grateful. Ray, have any last words for our wonderful audience today, for our family, for our people?
I just want to say I'm very thankful for the way that everyone was engaging tonight. It just makes having this conversation so much easier. It makes it flow so much better. And as we all continue on this spiritual journey, let's remember that everything takes its time and it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen for you. I don't want you to rush now and be like, oh my God, I've been doing this wrong the whole time. Let me try to fix it overnight. Just being aware of where you are, being aware of what stage you're at, and taking little steps every day to better yourself is all that the universe is asking of us.
Yes.
So I just want us to ask us to continue to better ourselves, to grow as individuals, and to truly love one another. But don't let nobody play you for no fool, and don't let nobody use you for the beautiful energy that you exude as spiritual people.
Ashe. And on, we're going to invite to Elo by Sky Can. Follow Sky Can on Instagram, Facebook, and I will share. Thank you all again for viewing tonight. It was great. It was great. It was really great. As we strive to reach wisdom as the Elohim, may you continue in your personal journeys and in love and peace. We leave you all.
That's a rebirth. Giving thanks to life in the ether. I can never fall when I'm free word. Free bird. Free word. Free bird. Free word. Free bird. I'm Elo. I'm Elo. I'm Elo. I'm Elo. Sun rays like a satellite. Energies bring me back to life. Catch me chilling with the Elo. Universal flow, I belong here. Sun rays like a satellite. Energies bring me back to life. Catch me chilling with the Elo. Universal flow, I belong here. I Elo. I Elo. I Elo. I know.
I fucking love
Thanks
you.
to the fire.